All right, now to some developments in the deadly shooting on the set of Rust. This afternoon, there will be a hearing, and we could learn about a trial date set for actor Alec Baldwin. Baldwin pleaded not guilty last month to charges of involuntary manslaughter in the shooting death of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins. Meantime, the trial for the film's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, begins tomorrow. The big question in her case: how did live ammunition end up on a movie set, then loaded into a prop gun and then eventually discharged by a movie star, killing the cinematographer? Prosecutors say Gutierrez Reed unintentionally brought those live rounds to the set, and they allege she may have been impaired by drug use on the set the day of the shooting, causing her to mistake live rounds for the dummy rounds. She has also pleaded not guilty. Joining us now, trial attorney and legal analyst Misty Marris, to give us a look at what we can expect in both of these cases. Good morning, Misty, to you. Let's start with Alec Baldwin and determining a trial date. What do you anticipate will come of this hearing this afternoon?
This afternoon, it's going to be a lot of basic evidentiary type issues that will be raised, a schedule for submission of motions, and ultimately a trial date will be put on the calendar. Now, I think we're going to see this trial date, obviously, after the trial of Hannah Gutierrez Reed, because my belief is prosecutors want to see how this one goes before Alec Baldwin is actually on trial, because this case against the armorer is the easier case to make from a legal perspective.
Okay, and I went into some of the details and the allegations against her. What will be the challenges for her defense team?
So the biggest thing here, Marni, is that there's been some evidentiary rulings that the judge determined prior to the trial going forward. And one of those relates to what you just spoke about, whether or not she was hung over and impaired on set. The judge ruled that various text messages relating to her off-duty time can come in. Those text messages, according to what we know from court filings, indicate that she was using marijuana, cocaine, and drinking heavily. Now, prosecutors are going to argue that she was impaired on the set. The defense is going to say, well, no toxicology was done. There was no drug testing. There was no sobriety testing. So that's all based on these text messages, so it's not dispositive. The biggest issue for her, as far as a defense, is that she was the armorer. She was responsible for the safety of the gun. Prosecutors have said they intend to show that she was the one who actually brought those live bullets to the set. That's been the big question, Marni. How did they even get there? Prosecutors say they have a theory that she was the one who brought them on set and ultimately loaded them into the weapon. So that's really where the case lies. That's a central question.
Well, and how far does the theory get you? I mean, do they have evidence that she did that intentionally?
So it's actually, the allegations are that it was unintentional, but that she made a reckless error in doing so. And to your point, because she's the one with the responsibility for that gun and for ensuring safety on the set in her role, that's really going to be the central issue. Now, the defense, we know where they're going. They're going to point to everything else. They're going to say Alec Baldwin didn't take his safety training seriously. They're going to say production was rushing this because they had a short timeline and a low budget. So they were the ones shirking safety responsibilities, and they're going to try and shift that accountability. So we're going to learn a lot about the set and about what was happening during the course of this trial. And of course, that's going to be relevant to Alec Baldwin's trial as well.
Right. And will we hear from her? Do you think, if you're her defense team, you think it's a good idea to put her on the stand or not?
Well, it's always a question of strategy, and you kind of make that decision after the prosecution puts on their case and you see whether or not it makes sense. There's always an attendant risk with putting a defendant on the stand. And here, with these allegations of drug use, if she is on the stand, there's the potential that you open up the floodgates to issues that would never otherwise come into the courtroom. So I think it'll be a judgment call. I guarantee a jury would like to hear from her, but from a defense perspective, it might be a bit too risky to really open that door.
So if she's found guilty, does that help Alec Baldwin's case, or does that make a bigger challenge for his defense team?
If she's found guilty, it helps his case tremendously, because that means there was a determination about her role in this as the armorer. And his defense is centered on the fact that actors are not responsible for the maintenance and safety of a prop gun. And that falls under the umbrella of the armorer on a set. So if she is in fact found guilty, that's going to come into the courtroom. And Marni, take it a step further. When there's a determination or evidence that's presented, and if she's found guilty about those bullets and how the live rounds got onto the set and ultimately got into the gun, if that is found to be her, that it was her responsibility, that ultimately she was the one who brought those to the set, that's tremendously helpful to his case.
Okay, well, we'll see. His hearing takes place this afternoon. Her trial begins tomorrow. Misty Marris, thank you as always.
Thank you.